What is the biggest impact that you can have on your business by the end of this year? It's going to be coming to NoteExpo. All right, well, welcome back. We are here once again, like we are every single Wednesday at 11:05 Central Time for Note School TV. If this is your first time checking out Note School TV, or maybe you're here every single Wednesday, want to say welcome and want to say welcome back. So glad that you're here. As always, we'd love to engage with you during the show. Make sure you're commenting, bring your questions, bring your thoughts. We'd love to hear from you. And another thing that really helps us, which ultimately will in turn help you, is if these are valuable videos, if really the content we're bringing across the screen is something that brings value to you or your business, man, like those videos. We use a lot of these metrics, not just to bring better content, but YouTube also does this whole thing, and it takes this content to people just like you. And so we all start to win. And if you know someone specific who really could use this information, there's a share button. And you can go and click share, grab that link. You could text it, email it to a friend, colleague, whatever that looks like. Continue to share the information. Let's put the best content out that we possibly can. And if you're wanting more and more and more content, you can always subscribe to our channel simply by clicking the subscribe button. And if you want to know about the Note School TV live portion, you simply click the bell notification. That little bell, you click all, and it will literally send you a notification every single week right before we go live, so that you are notified and you can jump on and you can engage with us and hang out and have a good time, bring your questions, get them answered, and ultimately grow in real estate. So this week, we've got a fantastic guest, a killer show. And before we do that, we've got to take a second to talk to our friend Joe about the news. Joe, how you doing?
I am great, man. How are you?
Solid. Really good, man. This is the time on the market cycle where it's like every week I need to know what's going on. So what's the hottest thing in the news today?
Well, as you can see there, pending home sales dip, but supply is still short. So according to the National Association of Realtors, that's exactly what's going on. And interestingly enough, Brian, you look at that and you go, okay, yeah, well, if the supply does drop, then pending home sales are going to drop as well, right? So according to Lawrence Yun, the chief economist for National Association of Realtors, he says that the market may be starting to cool slightly, but the moment there's not enough supply to match the demand, with would-be buyers, then of course the equilibrium will start coming there. And, there's also talk of rates just kind of ticking up just a little bit. But here's something that's pretty interesting. As of July 27th, 27% of buyers are still waiving the appraisal and any type of inspection when they are buying. So, it's still a tight market, and it's still certainly a seller's market as we move forward, right? So, and then second, I thought this was pretty cool because I live in Florida, right? So more and more flocking to the Sunshine State. So if we look at this, look at the different pieces there that go along with this. And it is, let's see here. So Miami, right? It's number one. And look at where most of the folks that are coming to Florida have moved from. New York, right? Sacramento is number two. They're coming from San Francisco. Phoenix, they're coming from Los Angeles, and all the way down the line. So interesting stuff as we move forward. I thought this was crazy. Cape Coral's not too far from where I am. But look, most of those folks are coming from Chicago. So a lot of stuff going on, and I get it. Everybody wants to live in Texas, and everybody wants to live in Florida, right? And one more here, number 6. Austin, Texas, they're coming from Silicon Valley. Well, Brian, a lot of folks, a lot of companies from Silicon Valley in San Francisco are moving to Austin. So that kind of follows the reasoning, right? So that is the news for this week. There is still a tremendous amount of interesting things going on in the real estate market. So with that, I want to bring on our Chief Visionary, founder of Note School, my friend, Mr. Eddie Speed.
Hey, Joe, how are you?
I'm doing just amazing, Eddie. How about you?
Well, I am good, and I think we have a lot of special guests on Note School TV, but certainly today,
yes,
we have a very special guest. And, if you ever watched the old movie True Grit, Joe, you ever see that movie?
I love that movie. Both versions, by the way.
Yeah, me too, both versions. And you remember the girl that was the main character in the movie, right? And her father was killed, and she would regularly refer to her attorney. You don't want to get my attorney after you.
That's right.
I'm saying, you remember that lawyer Daggart?
My lawyer Daggart. That's right. I love that.
Well, let me tell you something, Joe. I brought my attorney today. Let me introduce you to my attorney, Jeff Watson.
Good morning.
Good morning, counselor. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. It's great to be with the two of you. This is
Yes,
a lot
sir.
of fun.
You know, you and I do Zoom calls because when you're doing legal work for me, a lot of times you're in that position right there. So you're latched down at the desk today. You're not at Starbucks nor at Chick-fil-A.
No, I am not. I have not been to Chick-fil-A yet today. I did have a leftover chicken biscuit from yesterday that I have already consumed today. So I've satisfied my addiction for the day.
Jeff,
so I'm good there.
I heard that they were closing both the Chick-fil-A and the Starbucks in Independence.
Well, they can do that because I go to the one in Erie, Pennsylvania, so that's fine. I'm okay.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm
all
okay.
right. You're close.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm close to Erie, PA. That's actually the closest Chick-fil-A to where I am, closest Starbucks to where I am. It's about a 34-minute ride one way. It's a good time to just clear my head after the end of the day. There's just a lot of stuff going on, and it's just nice to clear your head, get in the driving lane, set the cruise control 5 miles an hour below the speed limit, listen to a good podcast, and, because Eddie, I don't know about you, Joe, I don't know about you, but there's a lot going on in the real estate space right now.
We have once a month our Note School TV market update. We did that last week. Yeah. And let me just tell you, there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that I don't necessarily know that everybody see. And obviously you are, Jeff. And it's a big deal.
Well, I'm thinking about two things that really bear relevance to what you and I care about, and I think they lead into NoteExpo. And I know we're going to talk about NoteExpo, but I'll tell you two good things that happened. Number one, I called it. In a 6-3 vote, the United States Supreme Court stood up and swatted down this CDC eviction moratorium. It's over. It's done. That vampire has had the silver stake pounded through its heart. It's gone. Okay. The second big thing, and Eddie, you probably know this, Joe, I'm not sure if you are or not, but House Bill or House Resolution HR 5013 has been reintroduced by our friend Congressman Vicente Gonzalez, Democrat, Texas, and it is the Affordable Home Ownership Act. I've been privileged to work on that, drafting that bill with Fred Castro and Bob Repass, and exciting stuff. And
good stuff.
There's more excitement about that coming. I don't want to steal Bob Repass's thunder, but he may have something really big lined up, and I'm going to leave it right at that. So, yeah.
Yeah. So
those are two huge things. Those are two huge things. Go ahead.
Yeah, guys, that bill is related to Dodd-Frank and seller financing, and it is going to alleviate a lot of the requirements that small seller financiers are required to do that make them too much like the bank. So this is a big deal.
Yes.
And Jeff,
this is a really big deal, particularly with the burned out landlord phenomenon going on. You got a burned out landlord that wants to get out of it and not let the IRS into his pocket except grudgingly over the next 15, 20 years. Boy, if you got a portfolio of more than 3 of those properties, that's a problem. Now this bill will make that problem go away. Yeah.
It's a really big deal. Jeff, has been a giant contributor in the Seller Finance Coalition. And of course, Bob and I are one of the founders of that, as Jeff and Glenn Lee and some others that have really put a lot of effort in this for a long time. So we're really excited about this. And we'll obviously, Jeff, talk about that at NoteExpo. By the time we get to NoteExpo, first weekend in November, that's going to be a big conversation.
Well, guys, I'm going to drop off. And Eddie, I'm going to let you talk to Jeff for a minute here.
Let's do it. We're going to talk about NoteExpo. Jeff, are you good for that?
I am good for that. NoteExpo is one of those you can't afford to miss it events that's marked on my calendar.
So I was trying to think, Jeff, like how long have you been coming to NoteExpo?
Eddie, it goes back to maybe some of the first couple of NoteExpos all the way back to 14 or 15, because I distinctly remember some things that happened in 2016 at a NoteExpo, and I know that was the second or third time I'd been there. Do you remember that NoteExpo in November of 2016 where you and I went out on a limb in front of an audience over 500 people, and we said we think that Donald Trump will win the election in the next week? Do you remember us doing that?
I do remember that.
And we were right. Yeah. That was
that. It was probably a lucky guess, but we actually did call it because the election was the next week.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, it was a big deal. And there's some things that what happens, and people then came up to you and I afterwards and says, well, if he does win, what's going to happen? And you and I both were like, business is on. And we went ahead and you went ahead and I helped you do it. Did some really big deals. We did some big trades in the next few months. And I got to tell you, I see the same thing coming again. If you're not at NoteExpo, you're going to miss the way the waves are breaking coming in off the beach or coming in onto the beach. And there's two big factors that are huge, massive waves that we got to be watching for. And how they're breaking state by state and segment by segment and county by county is going to be something shared at NoteExpo because the data will be that new and that granular. The eviction moratorium going away and all of these foreclosure forbearance programs are going to start fading away. And it is going to be game on, and you better be adapting and adjusting and running and gunning.
Two things I think, Jeff, are major facts, both of which we said in the market update last week, but worth repeating. Over 4.5 million mortgages aren't making a payment. So not everything is good in the real estate business, right? 7% of residential mortgages are not making a payment. By the way, 2/3 of those mortgages are not in forbearance. They are just delinquent. Another fact was we scraped a Forbes article. Joe did a good job of finding that. And it was within the last couple of weeks. And the Forbes article said that 8 million tenants owe $20 billion just to the small landlord category. Kind of a big deal.
It's a bigger deal than a big deal. And I am afraid that because there is no situation, no crisis, no matter how dire or desperate, that government cannot make worse with its policies and procedures, that most small mom and pop landlords are not going to have a chance at recovering that. I mean, I'm beating my head against the wall right now off of just one tenant who's willing to cooperate. She's cooperating immensely, but this whole program administered through the Emergency Rental Assistance Program in Cleveland, Ohio, they can't even get the right email address out to me. Just... Yeah.
So these are big market stories, and we're going to talk about that at NoteExpo. So Joe, Jeff, I want to go back down memory lane for a moment. Okay. So
let's do that.
You've been coming, and I know what that's like. People ask me the first year I did something, and I'm like, I don't remember. Time passes us, but you've been coming 6 or 7 years at least.
Oh yeah, I mean, at least 2015 was maybe my first or second year. So that makes, okay. Yeah.
So I want to go back down memory lane. Now, once again, I introduced you as my attorney, right? I used the reference to the little girl in True Grit and referring to her lawyer.
Yep.
But you are definitely, if not one of the most creative real estate finance attorneys that I know of anywhere in the country. And that's obviously why we use you for our business, not just that you help people with NoteExpo and Note School. But when you initially came, what were you thinking? What was in your head? What was your initial purpose and when you were coming?
The first, I remember this now a little more clearly. I can't remember the name of the hotel, but it was right outside of a north perimeter of DFW Airport.
It was in Frisco.
Was it in Frisco?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was Frisco. Wow. Okay. Anyhow, I was there because I was really diving into the note space, and I wanted to figure out what was going on in the note space. And I knew that there was a lot there, and being at NoteExpo was the fastest way that I could figure out to absorb information, learn, and figure out who was what was going on. That would be 2014, 2015 for sure. By 2016, I had gotten up to speed, and you and I were working on some stuff. And so you allowed me to speak at a couple of things. And I remember it just took off from there. But the number one reason I first started coming to NoteExpo was I needed to learn. And this was one of the best places to quickly learn, to really see the breadth and the width of the industry and figure out what it was I was going to focus on.
You know, the audience doesn't know this, but you and I do. I met you at a note trade show. Many years before.
Yeah, and many years before, we met in San Diego, California at a Hilton where there was a note trade show.
Yeah.
You had stretched my mind out the day before with Walter Wofford regarding inherited Roth IRAs and note deals.
Yeah, that was a fun day.
Yeah.
I didn't have any idea that the attorney that I met and sat in the back of the room and asked some really smart questions, I had no idea at the impact he would have on my life.
Yeah, well, sorry about that. Sorry about that. But no, I remember that. Good. I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that very well. I remember you and I had a conversation outside the room, and you said we need to stay in touch because you found out that I had something to do with a company called Real Flow, and Real Flow at that time was really starting to get some traction in the data space and so on, the CRM for real estate investors. Yeah. And we just, I just kept, and then I remember this. You were so gracious and invited me and some other guys in this one mastermind that you participate in to come to an event. And I came out to Denver, Colorado. Mm-hmm. And I had my mind stretched in ways that were just like, whoa. And I knew I'd gone down one rabbit hole. So I needed to kind of like get a lay of the land. So that's when I started showing up at NoteExpo. Like, okay, so this is what one rabbit hole looks like. What's the whole farmyard look like? And so, yeah, I remember that. Wow. Yeah.
That's great.
Let's bring back some memories. Yeah.
Jeff, let's do this. We have a sponsor for our show today, and guess who it is? NoteExpo.
Awesome. Yay.
Let's get a word from them, and I'm going to come back and we'll get an update on your perspectives now that you've been to many NoteExpos. So let's hear from our sponsor, NoteExpo.
See you at the next NoteExpo.
See you at the next NoteExpo.
Hi, everybody. I hope to see all of you next year at the NoteExpo.
See you next year.
See you at the next NoteExpo.
See you at the next NoteExpo.
See you at the next NoteExpo.
I had a great time, and I will be back next year.
See you at the next NoteExpo.
Hey, see you at the next NoteExpo.
See you next year at NoteExpo.
See you at the next NoteExpo.
It's been a fantastic expo. See you next year.
See you at the next NoteExpo. I already bought my tickets. Have you?
We're going to be there, right, Jeff?
We're going to be there. We're going to be there. Looking forward to it.
That's awesome. Okay, so we talked about your initial thoughts, what initially attracted you to NoteExpo. Now let's move forward. Now let's look back down the lane a little bit in time. Now that you have been to many NoteExpos, what are you looking for at this NoteExpo?
There's a handful of things that I'm looking for at NoteExpo. I want to get information. I want to get information as to what's really going on in different markets. The power of NoteExpo and the power of the network that is created at NoteExpo, the people that are there, they know stuff that's happening before it's tracked by any of the big data companies, before it then makes the news 60 days later. So that's the first thing. The second thing is I'm always looking for the good quality relationships. I'm in deals right now with people that I got to know at NoteExpo, and that's the way I like it. I'm always looking to do two things: looking to strengthen the existing connections and relationships that I have, and always looking for a couple more really good people to connect with and see if we can grow together in some way.
That's great. Yeah, the information is direct. You're getting it direct from the source. It's not filtered by the press. It's not filtered by somebody positioning a story. And I think the timeliness of NoteExpo, first weekend of November this year, Jeff, and all of the things that are coming over the waterfall. This is going to be a year that will be a measurable, maybe the most measurable year of NoteExpo having the information you're talking about. So I think that's the case. I'm so glad you're coming. I know you're going to do some killer presentations, and
yeah.
So let's look.
And the part that I think the part that I want to emphasize, and folks, if I've said it and you heard me, great. If I've said it and you haven't understood it yet, just bear with me. If you want to figure out where this market is going next, be at NoteExpo. If you want to develop the tools, the techniques, and get the strategies of how to benefit from where this market is going next, be at NoteExpo. It's that simple.
That's it. That's it. Like it's it is a combination of the most advanced people in the private loan space. These aren't necessarily hedge funds, although there will be hedge funds there. But these are people that are responsible for the market, that are aggregating down to people buying one note at a time, aggregating all the way up to somebody that may buy 800 notes, right? In other words, it's there that this is where the markets emerge with each other, and the timeliness of government regulation expiring on both landlords and mortgages. This is going to be obviously the talk of the thing. And as you said, Jeff, nothing but relationships. I base my whole, whatever success I've had in this business, it's been relationships. Relationships are what's pushed me to all the whatever. And so where do you go and do that? Listen, I met my attorney, Jeff Watson, at a note trade show, right? I can name thousands of people that I've had an impact with in the business over the past 40 years that I met at that. And this was why we went to the trouble. And it is a lot to put on, but this is why we did it, because we wanted the industry to be able to emerge and do that. So, Jeff, The Seller Finance Coalition has had a big audience at NoteExpo. So give us just a quick little update. You mentioned it in the opener, but give us a quick little update of maybe what we can learn by the time we get at NoteExpo and how seller financing can have a voice in Washington, D.C.
Well, the exciting thing is seller financing has elbowed its way to have a seat at the table. And it's taken years of hard work to get there. And Eddie Shoeleather from you and Bob Repass and Glenn Lee and myself and Matt Keelan and taken elbow grease and money, and National RIA's done some stuff to help with this. And we just keep chipping away at it. And people are like, well, you haven't succeeded yet. Yeah, you're right. We haven't. But do you know how many sessions of Congress it took the late Senator William Roth to get the Roth IRA passed? It took him 10 sessions of Congress. So don't quit. Okay, we're not even that halfway point yet. But anyhow, the key is what we're trying to do is simplify and make home ownership more affordable. Bob refers to it as Affordable Home Ownership Act. And it's really targeting towards the self-employed entrepreneurial class that is literally being discriminated against by the banking institutions. Literally the way Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, these government-sponsored entities, the way they will buy debt discriminates against the very people who are the backbone of our economy. People who start businesses, people who hire other people, people who sign the front of payroll checks, not the back. So we're trying to open up a way to where these people can have a chance to buy houses by raising the number of transactions that you as a mom and pop investor, you as a solopreneur can do in a 12-month period of time. Right now, the SAFE Act and Dodd-Frank limit you to doing 3 transactions. You can't even do them all the same. We're trying to raise that number from 3 to 24. And we're changing the language in both the SAFE Act, Truth in Lending, and Dodd-Frank to allow that to happen.
Mortgage Bankers Association generates a report that comes out every month called the Mortgage Credit Availability Chart. Basically, it shows that before the virus, Jeff, if 1,000 people could get a conventional mortgage, 650 can get a conventional mortgage today. If there's ever been a need for make sense seller financing, it has to be now.
You're telling me that in the last 18 months, the economic conditions that have resulted from the pandemic have taken away 1/3 of the people's ability to buy a home the traditional way?
100%. We do it on the Note School market update. We look at it every month, and it's mortgage credit availability, and it's a chart, and you can see the slash line going down like crazy. And so this is why we've said that you don't need to seller finance to a risky person. There's plenty of non-risky people that have now been left behind.
There's plenty of people that 2 years ago could have gotten a mortgage and now can't. And that doesn't mean that they're bad people. That doesn't mean their numbers have changed. That means that just simply they've been the overlaying matrix that some Freddie Fannie people got to use is just push them aside.
It's the market. And so what does seller financing do? It fills the void conventional lending doesn't fill. And so we're going to talk a lot about that at NoteExpo and opportunities in the networking of that. I'm going to get Joe and Brian to come back with us because I bet you that they might have a little something that they want to find out from you before you leave.
Well,
all right.
Eddie, I just want to say that, guys, you've met Jeff here for the last few minutes, and this is the kind of people right here that you were going to meet at NoteExpo. These are the folks that are just like Jeff, the integrity and the honesty and being forthwith with you. That's what you're going to meet. And Jeff, I appreciate you and all you bring to the table. Every time I talk to you, I learn something. So that's my 2 cents, Brian.
Joe, you're very kind. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I just want to point out there's a couple of things that stick out to me. First of all, for anybody who's watching this right now, if this is like something that you're like, wow, this is interesting. This Jeff Watson guy, he seems to have his act together. Look, if you like Note School TV, think about NoteExpo as a several-day event that would be an industry-led conversation. And if I'm correct, Mr. Watson, are you going to be speaking there?
I am being privileged to share some information. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think we're working on figuring out I got 2 different topics I want to talk about. We're trying to figure out which one's going to be the most relevant, which people are more interested in. So we're going to go that way, and looking forward to it. Yeah.
Hey, and Brian, so it's not only going to be folks like Jeff, but it'll be, folks like, our main sponsors, FCI Servicing Corporation. And so you've got hedge funds, you've got servicers, and you've got force-placed insurers, and all of these different people that are together in one place. And it's a true expo, right? It is a true expo. And got the big meeting hall, and then you go in, and there'll be a lot of good snacks there as well, guys. I'm just saying.
Lots of really good content, lots of vendors, lots of topics to discuss, and including the vendors you just mentioned, Joe. We're also going to have a vendor there who is one of our sponsors, and so couldn't take another second without at least mentioning our sponsor, Note School. Well, hey everyone, it is Brian with Note School, and I'm super excited that I get to invite you to this upcoming one-day deeper dive class that involves everything from the creative financing world to the note business. We call this class Gold in Notes because there's so much value in what we're gonna do. We're gonna take the whole day to really dig into the nitty-gritty, dig into the details of everything from the creative financing world and how we can do more deals, how we can really defer a lot of our taxes, create our own notes, and that opens up a whole other conversation in the afternoon when we talk about wholesaling notes, buying and holding notes, partials, which is a leveraging technique that is the best wealth building tool that I've ever seen. And ultimately, we're going to talk about non-performing notes and how to make some big money from bad debts, because the market conditions are just ripe to go and take advantage of them. And so you can click the link that you see on the screen. Though we're also going to put it in the comments as well, so you can click it. But sign up. It's a full day class that allows us to really engage with one another. So bring your questions, bring your business problems, and we're going to see you there. That's right. So we will wrap this show up. Mr. Watson, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate you joining us today. Joe, Eddie, always a pleasure as well. Wish you guys the best rest of your day. Go make it happen. For everybody else, thank you so much for joining us here on Note School TV, where we are live every single Wednesday at 11:05 Central Time. As always, this is something that you are getting some benefit from. Man, shoot us a little bit of a like. Just go click that little button. It takes just a second, but it means the world to us. And if you want more, you know how to subscribe now, and you definitely know how to turn those notifications on so that you can get alerted and participate in the show like so many did today. If you're trying to figure out really where to go from here, right? What is my next step? You can check out our sponsors. You can go register for NoteExpo right now. We're going to put a link to that in the description as well. But you could also go to noteschool.com/TV to learn a little bit more about kind of maybe what's next for you, right? What is your next step? Do you just have a burning question you've got to get, answered? Is it a business problem? Is it a hurdle you need to overcome? Let's kind of help you take that next step. And if it just can't wait, go to noteschool.com. There is a tab that says contact us. Simply click that and fill in some information about really what you need help with. We'll have the right person reach out to you right away. So enjoy the rest of your week. Have a great weekend. We'll plan on seeing you next Wednesday at 11:05 Central Time. Until then, we'll see you on the other side.